Animal Crossing, one of Nintendo's most successful franchises. The latest main entry in the series was Animal Crossing New Leaf, which has now sold nearly 9 million copies worldwide since its release. Needless to say, they're going to make another Animal Crossing game. And no, I'm not talking Happy Home Designer or Mario Party No Minigames Edition. I mean a legit Animal Crossing game, possibly for the NX, maybe for Nintendo's next handheld, whatever. And if they want that game to be as successful as Wild World was, which sold an outstanding 12.21 million copies worldwide, they're gonna have to up their game. Here's what I'd like to see in that next installment. More interactivity with furniture and public works projects. I would say bring back the NES games from the first Animal Crossing title, but seeing as though that's never going to happen thanks to the Virtual Console and Nintendo realizing that they can make a fortune off games that are over 20 years old, that's never going to happen. So instead of that, just add mini-games in other ways. Make it so that you can actually play the arcade games you buy for your house. Being able to play that Mario and Luigi fighting game would be awesome, even if it's just a tiny little distraction with 2 playable characters. At least it would incentivize obtaining these certain items just a little bit more. Make it so that you can actually play a little ping pong minigame with a ping pong table, or a foosball minigame with foosball table, etc. When you're outdoors, make it so that you can actually go in the hot springs, or allow a player to throw a penny into the fountain. These would just be little touches, but they would all help make the overall experience more enjoyable. And while they're at it, I think they should add other effects as well. When you go in the hot spring, it should leave the player feeling refreshed, right? So I say make that apparent in the gameplay. I'm not saying they should add a fatigue meter or anything, but maybe make it so that your character can perform certain actions faster for a few minutes after using the hot spring. Just something small, like maybe being able to dig a hole in half a second instead of 2 seconds. Make it so that after you throw a penny in the fountain, your character's luck increases, and they have a better chance of getting a gem out of their rock of the day, or a smaller chance of tripping. And as for the coffee shop, I mean, coffee has caffeine in it. How about that caffeine makes your character run faster for a few minutes? I think that would be cool. As it is, the coffee shop serves absolutely no purpose, and it's kind of sad because I like Brewster. More character customization. I haven't played Happy Home Designer, but apparently it started in the right direction with its feature that allows you to customize your character completely to your liking, as opposed to your appearance being randomly generated or determined based on your answers to vague, seemingly random questions. In addition to Happy Home Designer's improvements, I think they should also allow you to adjust your character's height, and as for weight, I think that should be determined by how much fruit you eat. That would further incentivize gathering fruit if you want a heavier character, or give you a reason to sell it instead of eating it if you want a lighter character. They could further work this weight gaining system into the game's mechanics by having your character lose weight if you run around the town a lot, or by having him or her gain weight if you don't move around that much. Again, it may sound sort of trivial, but I think it would just be an interesting touch that could add one more layer to the game. So far I've been mentioning stuff that the game already has that I think they should just improve on, but I do have some completely new ideas that I think could benefit the series as well. This game really is one that keeps me coming back time and time again, but that being said, as the years have gone by since New Leaf's release, my play sessions have grown further and farther apart. Animal Crossing is a very social game, and as my friends have been playing the game less and less, I have too. We need something that'll pull all of us back into the game together. In order to achieve this, Animal Crossing needs the ability to send mail to your friends even when they're offline. The 3DS used to have this feature natively in the form of SwapNote, that app that allowed users to send each other messages and drawings, but thanks to some terrible people abusing the system as well as the dreadful overreaction by Nintendo, this feature was removed from the system. We don't need to be able to send drawings to each other in Animal Crossing, but at least allow us to send each other messages and gifts. Gifts especially. There are so many times when I've found something I wanted to give to a friend in game, but I have to wait until we arrange a meetup to actually give it to them. But that can take forever, and often by the time that meetup is arranged, I'll have forgotten all about the thing I wanted to give them in the first place. The ability to send gifts would totally eliminate this problem. How could Animal Crossing gain even more of my praise? Greater incentives for completing your museum collections, housing upgrades, and winning tournaments. Most of these accomplishments are hardly incentivized at all as it is. You can argue that's the whole point of Animal Crossing. No major accomplishments are greatly incentivized to prevent the game from having an endgame of sorts. It gives the game a feeling of never ending. But the game doesn't need to end when you finish those long, daunting tasks. It could just use a little better reward than some dumb trophy that doesn't do anything. Like seriously, you should at least get some money along with the trophy or something. As for museum rewards, maybe you could unlock new town ordinances? You could sort of swing it saying that you've helped all the villagers out by building up one of their most popular attractions, and they want to help you in return by acting in certain ways. And housing upgrades may be a pretty good reward in and of themselves, but what if, in addition to that extra space, you also unlock the benefits of those similar to larger houses in real life? You could add on a balcony, or maybe add a guest room that functions similar to the campgrounds where you can have outside villagers stay in your house for a set period of time as a guest. You could maybe add a theater room, and yeah, you can kind of already do that by making a dark room with a big TV or projector inside of it, but make it so that you can unlock the ability to watch little clips on the TV, like actual little clips involving Animal Crossing characters. Imagine the depth they could add to the game by having certain animals star in their own short little, maybe like 30-second films. Moving on, you know how one of the best parts of Animal Crossing is experiencing real-life holidays in-game? The problem is, other than little aesthetic changes, not much happens on these holidays. Sure, Halloween has the candy-giving minigame, and Christmas has the gift-giving minigame, but what if on these days you actually unlock the ability to play full-fledged minigames? What if, on New Year's for example, you got to play a Mario Party-style minigame, but only on that day? That would give you a huge incentive to boot up the game just for that day. That may involve a lot more programming for each different holiday and some new ideas on top of that, but Nintendo has been reusing and rehashing what is essentially the exact same game over and over with minor improvements ever since the GameCube version. This is the same company that makes huge, expansive worlds for the player to explore in other games. I think they can afford a little more programming time for one of their other flagship titles. So you know the island from New Leaf that you can go to visit to find different fruits, fish, and bugs than those found in your own town? What if it wasn't just the island that you could go to visit? What if they brought back the gates from Wild World, and by passing through them, they allowed the player to go out and explore different environments? What if you could visit deserts, rainforests, and tundras, and find all the different types of fish, bugs, and fossils those different types of environments would bring with them? It wouldn't have to affect the core game, it would only serve to add to it. All of Nintendo's other games feature these different types of environments. And speaking of Nintendo's other games, what if they took some ideas from another certain game of theirs where you can catch different types of creatures in different environments? I'm not saying I want Animal Crossing to turn into Pokemon, and it wouldn't really make sense for bugs and fish to fight each other, but imagine if they gave you some sort of database that told you which fish, bugs, and fossils your friends had in their museums. Then when you came across something they didn't have, you could trade it with them to get something your museum doesn't have in return. That would even further increase the replayability and expand upon the social aspects the series was built on. And finally, I think the core gameplay should be kept the same. Like they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just add to it. The promise behind City Folk was exciting when they first announced it, because it sounded like they were keeping the game the same, just adding a bustling, vibrant new city for you to explore on top of everything else. Unfortunately, it wasn't the huge addition many of us were hoping for, and just ended up being nothing other than a relocating of some of the game's other assets. This was a total disappointment to me, as well as a number of other people, I'm sure. So next time you promise us an exciting new addition, Nintendo, please don't just give us City Folk or Happy Home Designer or Amiibo Festival. Give us fresh, new, and exciting content like you have with so many of your other games in the past. Just nothing too new and exciting, please.